Hey, what's up everyone? I hope you're all having a wonderful time. Today I will go over all you need to know about my version of the Righteous Fire build in Path of Exile. This build is a very tanky one and can pretty much do every content in the game. I use this as my league starter for Sentinel League and been very happy with it so far. This guide is going to include quite in-depth of all mechanics about this build, so if you're new to the game, no worries, I'm sure you'll be able to understand. If you got any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them as soon as I can. I recently made a leveling guide for this build, so I do recommend you check it out if you are new to the game or you're just maybe interested in some other ways of leveling. It got overall basic tips when to start out a new league, and when to get certain skills, how they work, and things along that way. Before we start, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe to the channel to show your support. It do mean a lot. And with that said, let's jump into it. Let's start to talk about how this build is working. So, Righteous Fire has been around for a long time. You sacrifice your life and energy shield to deal fire damage around you. And this we do mitigate by getting a lot of life regen and also getting as high maximum fire resist as we can. As the Inquisitor, we also gain our life regen to energy shield as well, making it even easier for us to sustain the Righteous Fire. It's also really cool that we actually get more damage by getting more life and energy shield. The playstyle is very simple. We use shield charge to move around and everything will most of the time just die. We also use Explosive Trap, Flammability Curse, and also Wave of Conviction to boost our single target even further. We are also using a couple of uniques for this build, but the great thing is that they are not required for this build to work. They are more for quality of life and for a better clear speed. More about that when we get to the gear part of this guide. For some pros and cons for this build, let's go over and start with the pros. So, first of all, it's a good league starter. It's very cheap to start with. It's great for map clearing. You got a semi-brain-dead playstyle, just how I like it. And it's also a very tanky build. For the cons, you can't run all the map mods. Stuff like regen and recovery mods, for instance, is a no-go. -2 maximum player resistance can be a problem as well. We do lack some of the single target damage. Even though the bosses isn't really a problem, it can just feel very slow sometimes, depending on the boss. Let's go over the skill links. So, first of all, we are using Righteous Fire, and here we want to link it with burning damage, and also Swift Affliction, then Life Tap, Elemental Focus, and here I have Awakened Increased Area of Effect. And if you can't afford the Awakened version, just go ahead and take a normal Increased Area of Effect. And if you do feel that you lack damage, you can swap this out for a Conk effect instead. And for the Explosive Trap, we have Trap and Mine. We also got Conk effect. And lastly, Life Tap. We also have this in an Elder base helmet. And this is just so we can have the extra burn damage with socketed gems. And here you can actually also get the Conk effect as well. So you can actually have a 6-link on your helmet. If you do get Conk effect also, you can just swap the Conk effect for the Swift Affliction gem instead. Next up, we got the Flammability Curse, and this makes it so enemies have less fire resist, so we can do more damage to them. And we're also using Wave of Conviction, and pretty much same here. This provides us with fire exposure to the enemies, also making it so we do deal more damage. And here we have just a life tap support, level 1, so it costs life instead of mana. Next up for mobility, we are using shield charge most of the time, and this we want with faster attacks. And I also have a frost blink here for additional way of moving around, mostly for jumping over obstacles or maybe cliff sides and stuff like that. We also have these linked with a life tab support level 1. For auras, we are using Purity of Elements, and this is providing us with huge amounts of elemental resist, but also we are gaining immunity for elemental elements. We're also having Vitality for some more life regen. Determination, really important one for additional armor. Divine Span is also really important, just so we gain even more armor and some other stuff like enemies having reduced critical strike chance. And lastly, we are using Tempest Shield for some more block chance to spells, which is really huge, especially for bosses. And next up we have Val Molten Shell, and this is pretty much just so we can get even more armor, huge defense. You can pop it on bosses, and we also have the normal Molten Shell here that we are also using. You can put it on your right mouse button, so you are using it while you are running around. And for the last skill that I'm using is Blood Rage, and this is just so we can get some frenzy charges while we are running around, providing us with some more damage and also movement speed. Okay, so here's the passive tree. And as you can see, we are pretty much all over the place right now. And yeah, let's start from the beginning, and I will take it from there. So let's start by zooming in. First we go this route here, the damage route, to Retribution and also Amplify. And we can go down here for the life, and also down here for Sanity, for life regen and other things it provides. Next up, Holy Domination. Down here and take this life wheel. And here on the mastery you can grab 50%, oh not 50%, 50 flat life. And then we want to make our way up here. Grab the elemental nodes here, Divine Judgment, and here you want to pick all elemental resist. Grab the Jewel Socket, and then move up all the way up here to the Fire node. Take the dot multis, hold the fire, and here for the mastery we want to grab the Fire dot multi. Moving up, going down, here you have damage over time multipliers, and here we want to go for this one, less damage taken from damage over time. This works for Righteous Fire, so it's awesome for us. Down here, the fire nodes, like that. Moving upwards, and we want to continue over here. And we want to go up here and take the fire nodes for the dot multi. And down here we have more life nodes. So this is a tree so far. Let's continue downwards. Going down, all the way down. And take this wheel here for the life regen and regen rate. And here we can also take that we gain 2% of life while we are moving. Here we have another life node. And here I would like to take Vitality, has 100% increased mana reservation, so it's pretty much free. Down here, taking the Jewel Socket. And then moving over here, take the armor nodes here. And for the mastery, we want to take Determination, has 25% increased mana reservation, so it's cheaper to use. And then we want to go all the way here. Move up for Warrior's Blood, taking the life nodes here. Moving to the right, And here we have the elemental nodes. And here we want to go for cold and prismatic skin. If you are not using Aegis Aurora shield, you can go for the fire resist as well. Taking strength node over here and moving upwards, taking the sockets. And I want to go here, and here is where we are going to fill up the rest of our remaining skills later. So yeah, so this is pretty much the basic setup, and I will get a couple more and explain a little bit more why we are having them. So first up, let's start up here. We are using the aura nodes here for mana reservation. Nothing crazy here, just we can pretty much pick even more auras and also increase mana reservation efficacy for the mastery. And we have another one of these down here that you want to pick for next. Down here. And aura effect, and champion of course. And here for the mastery, you can take that auras from your skills have increased effect on you. Oh, I forgot here. This is pretty much optional. I like to take corruption blood, cannot be inflicted on you. If you do have a jewel for this, you don't really need this obviously. And you can pick something else, like all resist for instance. So next up, I will talk a little bit about unwavering stance. So this is really important for us to use. And this is making us stun immune, but we cannot avoid any attacks. So to mitigate this, we need to stack a lot of armor so we take less damage from hits. So I would recommend not to use this until you'll be able to fit in at least Determination Aura and Defiance Banner. Next up, I will go and I will pick Glancing Blow. This makes it so we get double block chance from both attacks and spells, but we take some more damage once we do block. This doesn't affect us that much though. First of all, we do have so much life and energy shield regen, but we are also using the Aegis Aurora shield, which I will talk a little bit more in just a sec. But just a quick explanation. The shield makes it so we gain energy shield when we block, so better to be capped so we take the full advantage of the shield. And once we get these ones, you can go and grab these for more elemental resist and some more block as well. Lastly, we have Divine Shield. And this allows 3% of total physical damage prevented from hits recently to be regenerated as energy shield per second. And this is boosting our defense even further. And lastly, I forgot to mention these two nodes also for some more maximum life, chaos resist and energy shield. So for Ascendancy we are going for the Inquisitor, and here we want to first pick Sanctuary. And this will provide us with consecrated ground around you while you are stationary. And the next one, the second one, is going to be Pious Path. This makes it so we get permanent consecrated ground pretty much, and also so our life regen will apply to energy shield. So how this works is that you get consecrated ground every time you stand still for 4 seconds, and by using shield charge, we will then refresh this timer each time you use shield charge. And this making it so we have it all the time. And for the third one is going to be Augury of Patience. And this is just for so nearby enemy take increased elemental damage, and also so they deal less elemental damage to us. And for fourth and last one, we are going to pick Righteous Providence. This is mainly for the bonus attributes it provides, but we do actually gain from the crit as well when we are using our explosive trap, for instance. And everything you see here, I will put the POB in the link in the description so you can easily just go and check for yourself. Nothing to worry about, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. For the bandits, you want to kill them all just so we can get those 2 extra skill points. And for Pantheons, I like to go for Soul of Solaris. And this is providing us with different kinds of defensive stats, but the main reason is for the physical damage reduction if there is only one nearby enemy. And this helps out mainly for bosses. For the minor souls, I like to pick Gruthkul for even more physical damage reduction. So let's go over the gear for this build. And I want to start with the uniques that I got. So overall, you don't really need any uniques for this build to work, but there are some that takes this build to the next level. So, first of all, let's talk about these boots. And these are called Legacy of Fury. So this makes so there is a chance once you kill an enemy they will explode, dealing 8% of their health as fire damage per second. And these do help out a lot with the clear speed while we are mapping. Also got some nice stats like movement speed and all elemental resist as well. For the next one we have a ring called Death Rush. This means that we get the onslaught effect, boosting our cast, attack and movement speed by 20%. And we also get some life, armor and chaos resist, so overall a great ring for us. And the next one which take this build to another level, and this is the Aegis Aurora shield, and this is huge for our survivability. This makes it so when we block, we replenish energy shield by 2% of our armor. And this makes us pretty much immortal while we are mapping. We also gain a lot of armor from the shield, and it's got a decent block chance as well. We also get 5% to maximum cold resist, and this doesn't really help us much at all as it is, but we can utilize this by getting another item called Melding of the Flesh. This is a unique Cobalt Jewel which makes it so our elemental resist are capped by our highest maximum elemental resistant instead. So this means by default we get 5% extra maximum cold resist from the shield, and with this jewel we now get that also to lightning and fire. The jewel do give a negative to all elemental resist though, and this can be quite a challenge to build around. And the thing that I did for this is that I took as much elemental resist as I could in the passive tree. Like over here, we got some masteries over here for example. And overall just try and get as much resist on your jewels as well. Not quite sure if I had any on these. No, I do have on this one for example some cold resist. Just try to get as much on these as you can. And we also have Purity of Elements, which do provide us with a lot of elemental resist, as well as making us element immune. So we don't need to worry about getting frozen or shocked, for instance. If you're doing this as a leg starter, Melding of the Flesh and the Aegis shield can be quite expensive. The budget version is instead to use a shield called Rise of the Phoenix. And this provides us with +2 maximum fire resist instead, and some other great stats. I thought I include it so you can start your Righteous Fire journey right away. Let's go over the rest of the rare gear that we have. So first of all, the weapon here, I just have +all fire spell skill gems, and we also have a damage over time multiplier with a crafted fire damage over time multiplier. And the ideal way here, obviously you can have 1 to all spell gems, so you get the +2, and also fire damage and burn damage. And the important thing here is to note that you do not want any spell damage, because it do not affect the Righteous Fire. For the helm, we are using an Elder-based helm, and this is so we can get the socketed gems are supported by burning damage, and an ideal way here is also having conk effect as well. So we could get another 6 link here. The mod socketed gems deal 30% more damage is from using a Essence of Horror on the helmet. Other than that, just some life, resist, works as well. For the neck, I'm using just a very basic marble amulet here for the regen it provides. And I was very lucky with this that I made. I used recommendations to make this, and we got all attributes, some damage over time multiplier, and also all elemental resist and fire skill gems with some maximum life. And we are using Arsonist for the extra fire damage over time multiplier and also some life regen that it provides. And it's a very cheap one. It's just cost 2 green and 1 blue to anoint this. For the ring, just try and get as much life and resist that you can get. And this one was one that I got pretty early on, and it just provides with a huge amount of chaos resist, and I just kept it as it is. And for the chest, it's just a really weird one. I just used some recombinators to get this. But yeah, overall, get as much life as you can. I was very lucky of hitting 2 pretty high resist there. But the most important one here is gain a percentage of maximum life as extra maximum energy shield. But you can also get this as a craft instead. By the time I didn't have it, so I looked for a body armor with the mod instead and just recombinated, and this was the result. Also the implicit here, just some random ones. The most important one here is the all maximum resist. You can get this up to 2%, but you can also get up to 3% to cold max resist. And that's the better option of everything here. But I've been lazy and I just left it as it is, but it can be good to know that it's an option also. And the life recovery rate, huge for this build. I also like to quickly mention that the base of all items is best if you can have them as a armor base, or at least a hybrid with armor and energy shield. For the body armor, keep in mind if you are using a pure armor base that you will need 4 off colors, and that might not be the easiest way to get. For the belt, you can pretty much have anything you want. I got this Stygian Vice with the chaos resist there. Did some crafting, got some armor, some life, some extra resist as well, and also the jewel here, just more life, some resist that I needed, nothing crazy. And for the gloves here, we are using these, nothing crazy at all. At the moment I need the dexterity, so it's pretty hard to change these out. But mainly you want to focus on getting just as much life as you can, resist, and maybe you want to open prefix so you can get the craft there that I made for increased damage during any flask effect. And for implicits, but the things that you want to look for is the fire damage over time multiplier, as these have, and I got the fire exposure for unique enemies. And sure, this is okay, but you can get another one which is applying it to all enemies, which is obviously much better. And for the jewels, you want to get as much fire damage over time multiplier and as much life as you can. Also increase area damage, increased damage works as well, but you might want to try and get some resist here also, if it's possible. Next up is going to be about flasks for this build. And these are quite awesome. First of all, we are using this unique one called Forbidden Taste. And this is giving us almost all our life back instantly when we are using it. We do take 25% of our life as chaos damage per second though. But this we are mitigating by having our chaos resist capped. And if you are struggling getting your resist capped, just a normal life flask works great as well. For the rest of the flask, we got the mod used when charges reach full, and we also have gain charges when you are hit by an enemy. And this is making it so while we are mapping, we pretty much always have our flask up. Pretty much like having yourself a mage blood. Okay, maybe not as strong, but you get the idea. The flasks that we are using are basals for more armor. We also have a granite for additional armor. We use the ruby flask, so we take less fire damage taken. And lastly, we use quicksilver for increased movement speed. And for the suffixes on the flask, we have increased movement speed. We also have increased armor. We have increased block recovery. And lastly, we have increased attack speed. And this is so our shield charge get a little bit faster. Another thing to note is it doesn't really matter which flask get what mod. The important thing here is used when charges reach full and also gain charges on hit, so it gets automated. I always try to aim for at least 4 charges on my flasks, but obviously the more charges you can get, the better it is. Alright, I just want to go quickly through the POB real quick here. And yeah, so we are using the config with Sirius on. Just so we clarify that. And yeah, nothing crazy with the damage here. 500,000, it's not that much, but we're getting there. We're still a long way from maxing this build out. But overall we got pretty high effective hit pool. With the fizz here and the elements, also the chaos, they are pretty high. So we got 5k life, we got 1.5k energy shield, and we also have quite a bit of life regen, which is good. The will overall have a lot of armor, so we have a lot of reduction there. The block chance from hits are capped, not the spell block. I will try and see if we could figure it out to cap that one out as well. Maybe we have to change the boots for some other ones, just for bossing, for instance. And yeah, going to try and get our resist up even further. 90 is obviously the target. And we also have 76% chaos resist, which is great. So yeah, this is the stats pretty much, and I'm quite happy with it so far. So there we go everyone. I hope you found this video helpful, and as I mentioned at the start, I used this as my league starter and been enjoying it very much. The fact that you don't need any uniques to get started is a huge plus. There are also so much cool things that you can do with this build and different combinations to try out. Next step for me will be probably to get our elemental resist to cap, so getting to 90 is the target. We have some options here. First of all, we can get 2 more to the max resist on our body armor, and we can also go and get plus to cold resist on our gloves as well as implicit. We can try to fit in purity of ice, that works as well. I believe you get 4 or 5 to maximum cold resist by using that, but as it is right now, if you want to use it, we have to remove our purity of elements, and then our resist will just go to shit. So yeah, we are pretty much stuck there right now. Another option is if you can get Ashes of the Star, the amulet. Obviously, this is not some easy thing to get, but you never know. Sometimes lucky, I guess. Made a couple other videos where I showcase how I made most of my gear for this character, so if you want to check them out, maybe get some tips on crafting overall, or just curious, go check them out. They are pretty basic and easy to understand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It do mean a lot to me. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!